We record.
Got it.
All right. Yo, 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 yo. What is up, you guys? This is going to be episode 21. And I am here with Scott Barber from the Orange Years. He is the co-director. How are you? How's everything going?
I'm doing good, as good as you can do in the middle of a pandemic. But yeah, we're super excited to have this movie out and hope that it can, bring some joy in these kind of trying times.
It is, very trying during the pandemic. What else? The documentary is just a mix of emotions, and I love it, and I'm here for it. So you're in Texas.
Yes.
How is the pandemic in Texas?
I stay inside a lot. Luckily, I have a job that allows me to work from home. I edit videos and stuff like that, so I haven't had to get out. So
yeah.
On my end, it's pretty good. I think people are finally taking it seriously, thank goodness, and wearing masks and staying inside. So I feel I have a lot of friends that are musicians and work in like bars and stuff like that, and my heart goes out to them because I know this is a very difficult time for all those people. I know that's all across the world, really. So I hope they can get some sort of relief. But yeah, I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. What about you?
Okay, so I'm in Philly, and it's crazy because here in Philly, we still take it seriously. Like, I don't think we have an issue with wearing masks. Like, a lot of people wear their masks. Like, it's crazy. And that's crazy that you mentioned that, because I know in like different parts of the US, there's like some people who don't wear their masks, and then there's people who are like really serious about wearing their masks. So it's just like crazy how it's different, and like.
Yeah. I like it. I think I look better with a mask on, so I'm happy to wear one.
Well, I mean, I don't wear that much makeup when I wear masks. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I'm like, I go all natural.
I love it.
Yeah. So, the Orange Years, the documentary.
Yes.
Okay, so I watched it, and I love the history. Are we allowed to give spoiler alerts, or just like?
Go for it.
Okay. It's just a mix of emotions. It's like, I love the journey that you guys show, and like, I didn't know a lot about Nickelodeon. Like, the quotes that stood out to me was like, "Orange, you glad that you got a Nickelodeon?" That was funny.
I love that.
And I was thinking also, like, the documentary is called The Orange Years. So I was like, because it's going to be New Year's, I was going to name this episode The Orange New Year,
I like it, yes.
Yeah, a little twist to it.
Mashup.
A mashup, exactly. Bringing that 2021 energy.
I'm loving that. I can't wait for 2021.
I know, like turning a negative into a positive for sure.
Yes.
But and what other emotions did I feel? Like, it is also sad. Y'all would think like Nickelodeon is just all like happy-go-lucky, but it's also like it strikes a chord. And it's also realistic. That's how I felt when I watched it. I'm not gonna go into detail because I'm gonna spoil it.
I know. I have so much trouble not spoiling it. Everyone's like, dude, when you go do interviews, you can't spoil the whole movie. But yeah, I mean, this film, I think for people that grew up with Nickelodeon, even people that were a little bit later that maybe don't remember or live through the shows that we focus on, will really get a kick out of it because they get to see where it came from. And that's really what we try to do is, Nickelodeon is this big, huge juggernaut. They're on par with Disney these days. Mm-hmm. And we're kind of showing how did they get there? Because they were this very small, failing local network from Columbus, Ohio, that then moved to New York and was still doing bad. And how did we get here? And yeah, 80s and 90s kids, I love hearing from them because I feel like we all were experiencing this thing together because we were all watching the same shows, and getting to hear from people that say that it really struck a chord, really resonates with them. That just means everything to us because it's certainly, this film was an honor for us to get to work on, to get to meet all those people that you grew up watching as a kid. Like, what a dream come true,
Oh, I'm so jealous, but in the best way possible. So happy for you guys. Did it take a long like process to make the film?
It did. Yes, it absolutely did.
Oh.
And this is the first film that me and Adam, my co-director, we've done shorts, we've written scripts, but we've never made a film. We've never made a documentary. Um, and so it was a lot of work, but it was a lot of
Mm-hmm.
fun work. Like what's the saying? Find something that you love, and you'll never work a day in your life. We put a lot of hours into this, a lot of hours. But I mean, getting to hang out with Kenan and Kel, Mark Summers, going to New
Yeah.
York, going to Los Angeles, going to Canada, and getting to watch all those orange VHS tapes to find all
Oh
the
yeah.
B-roll like that. I mean, come on, how can we complain about that? But yeah,
Exactly.
filming it was a blast because we got to meet a lot of cool people and go all over North America, and then editing it was really fun. And then it was all the like more business and kind of stuff that we kind
Mm-hmm.
of didn't know how to do, and it's not really in our wheelhouse that other
Mm-hmm.
people did. That was probably the only part that wasn't really that fun because we don't do that. But
Yeah.
the film finally, a company called Gravitas Ventures, they acquired the film, and they're getting it out there. It's on iTunes, it's on Amazon, Vudu, everything, and you can get the DVD, you can get the Blu-ray, and we're hoping, early 2021, maybe it'll be even more places.
Exactly. Putting that manifesting your dream is putting it
Put it
into
out there.
existence. Yes, speak
Yes.
it into existence. Love it. Um, something about you said it took a lot. Oh, you know what I was thinking when you were saying all that? Like it took
Uh-huh.
a long time. Why? Because it's greatness.
Thank you.
Yes. So working with, let's start off with the first celebrity, Kenan Thompson. How
Yeah.
is it working with him? Like anything funny? Like any funny stories?
Oh my gosh. Yes. I mean, first of all, that dude is so funny. Like I couldn't, being in the presence of somebody that's a true great was really awesome. And to get to see that, I think some people who are on TV are funny because they have funny scripts. Somebody wrote something funny
Mm-hmm.
for them to say. But that guy just, I mean, because he had no script, we're just asking him questions. He's just being himself. And he was hilarious, so funny. I mean, you can tell why that guy has had the success that he has had because he is a genuine star. He's a hilarious,
Oh,
bright presence. But beyond that, the
yeah.
thing that I have to say is how humble and down to earth that guy is, and what an amazing just human being he is. When we were making our list of who all we wanted to get for this film, we
Mm-hmm.
knew we had to get a lot of people. For this film to work, we knew, because there's so many different shows. There's You Can't Do That on Television, Double Dare, Salute Your
Mm-hmm.
Shorts, Hey Dude, all that. Are You Afraid of the Dark? Legends of the Hidden Temple. We knew Pete and Pete. We knew we had to get all these different people. And I remember early on, we're like, oh man, I hope we can get Kenan, but that's going to be tough because he's, I mean, one, he's just a busy guy. I mean, just to
Mm-hmm.
be on Saturday Night Live is crazy. And he's
True.
a huge star. He's one of the biggest stars out there right now.
Yeah.
And whenever our producer reached out to him, he was just like, "Oh yeah, that sounds like a lot of fun. Hey, thank you guys for making this." It's like, you just thanked me?
Wow.
No, thank you for doing our independent
Yeah.
documentary. And we always try to be as kind as we can to people that are giving us their time, because
Mm-hmm.
that's their time is valuable. So we would always offer to drive people to the interview if we need to pick you up. If we always try to provide food, and if they want a little hair and makeup, we try to provide that for them, because we want them to look as good as they can on camera.
Mm-hmm.
And that guy, Kenan Thompson, was just like, no, dude, you don't have to drive me, and like, can we get you
Wow.
anything? Can we get you some coffee? Can we get you some food while you're here? And he's like, no, can we get you,
Whoa.
do you need hair and makeup? He's like, no, like, he turned it all down, didn't need it, didn't want it. He just came in and was himself and was an absolute beast. I mean, that guy is, I
Whoa.
can't, I like, meeting him was such a dream, but getting to meet him and see that he's like the real thing, and he's an amazing person. He deserves every bit of celebrity. I love it when good things happen to good people. And that,
same here.
and Kenan Thompson is a perfect example of that. He's such a big star, and he deserves every bit of it because he's so talented, and he's also so nice and so humble. He's one of the nicest people I've ever met. And that guy, if anybody could be a rock star and be kind of a diva, he has the right to, because he's that big. But he didn't even have an ounce of that in his soul. It was amazing.
That's so crazy. He's so down to earth. Wow. But in the documentary, was he the one that talks about Coolio?
Yes.
Yeah. He was like, oh, that's how I learned how to be a true professional. And also like, this is how I feel today. Inspirational.
I love that we got Coolio in the spoiler alert. Coolio is in the film.
Yeah.
No. I love that we had Coolio in the film, and that shows you how awesome Nickelodeon was. That all these people were willing to come and do interviews. Even Coolio, who he's not really a Nickelodeon guy. He's like a legit performer. But he was on all that, and he of course did the Kenan and Kel theme song. He was like, "Oh heck yeah, I'll come do an interview with you. Yeah, sure, come on." And he talks about it, and I think that's just awesome, and I think that shows how amazing the experience was for everybody, whether you were a star, a writer, an actor, a director, or someone like Coolio who just did one song. Everybody had a good time.
It's the connection, yeah, that Nickelodeon has with people. And like you guys even mentioned, like people still talk about all the shows from back in the day. Like, that's how you know there's a connection.
There's a lot of shows that I watched when I was a kid that, I can thoroughly admit that it's just nostalgia. I only liked it because it was what was on when I was a little kid. And there are a lot of shows that, it's like, oh, I remember that. That's cool. But when you start talking about Nickelodeon with people, their eyes light up. We get so passionate about it. And that's what we really wanted to dive into is, why is that? Why is it that when people talk about Kenan and Kel, Are You Afraid of the Dark, Pete and Pete, Double Dare, people are just like, oh yeah, remember that? Oh, that was awesome. Why is that? Why did kids connect so strongly and so powerfully? And I think we kind of get to the heart of that in the documentary.
You did.
But it wasn't just an accident. It wasn't just nostalgia. There were some people doing some really good work.
Yeah, definitely. I could definitely tell when you talked about in the interview that a lot of kids just want an escape.
Yes.
And that was Nickelodeon for kids.
It totally was. It's
totally different from Disney.
Yes.
Yeah.
Especially back then. Yeah, you look at Disney, which, not to knock them, there's a lot of great people that came from Disney. But it was just different. Everyone had all the guys had the perfect blonde frosted tips, and the coolest clothes and the perfect teeth. And, that's great, because they can sing and they can dance perfectly. But ultimately, I think the reason why kids related more to Nickelodeon than like the Mickey Mouse Club is because, those people seem like somebody you could be friends with, that you saw yourself in Nickelodeon. They just seemed like regular kids, not these perfect performers,
Yeah, they weren't fake. Nickelodeon is not fake.
No.
Heck no. And okay, so the other celebrity, Kel. Kenan and Kel, forget about Kel. So how is it working with him too?
It was also awesome. I mean, he is such a great guy. And, he is, we did our research about people beforehand so we could learn about them and what to talk to them about, and also kind of be like what their vibe is and stuff. And so we had prepared, but even doing the research, I was blown away by how spiritual Kel was. He's got a really pure soul, and he really, you can tell he's a very thoughtful person, that everything he does, he thinks about. And getting to hear Kenan and Kel talk about each other was just so special, to hear them talk about like how honored they were to get to work with each other, and how they both brought out the best in each other, and how they really became like family to each other, legit family. Was really beautiful to get to hear. Kel was so awesome. We interviewed him in Los Angeles. It was funny. We interviewed him on both sides of the country. Kel was in Los Angeles, Kenan in New York.
Oh for Saturday Night Live, right?
And it was just great. We interviewed Kenan first and then Kel afterward.
Okay.
because we'd gone to New York, and then yeah, I mean, they were both just so cool and so funny. And to get to hear Kel, Kel tells the story of where he came up with his classic Ed character from Good Burger.
I remember, yeah.
That's really cool to hear it directly from him. What a funny guy, I mean,
Yeah.
I love that. I mean, that voice, what an interesting choice, to make him kind of like almost like a Keanu Reeves kind of
Yeah.
Bill and Ted character. Like that's
Like
just,
he surfs, right?
yeah. And Good Burger is an amazing movie. I went back and watched it. It's what a fantastic film. And that film helped propel Nickelodeon always had a desire to be more than just a television channel. And that was really one of their first movies that really, okay, that's a real movie, that I think propelled them into the they had another live action movie before that, but that one and the Rugrats movie really helped propel them into being this huge thing, just this multimedia, huge, amazing thing for kids.
True. When I watched Kel on the interview, he seemed very calm. It was a different side to Kel. Even Kenan, like they both seem really cool, calm, collected. And I'm so used to seeing them very animated, very out there. And I remember Kenan saying that like Kel is like a genius or whatever. Not whatever, but like he is a genius, right? Yeah. And then he was just so chill, and then like reminiscing like on the Nickelodeon like days, and they were like, oh yeah, it's like working with your family, and we're already used to that. And then we get to like actually like be together every day. And that like, resonates me because sometimes people go to work. A lot of people go to work and they don't work with people that they like. So I could feel like they really genuinely had like
a connection,
like the craziest bond that like I feel like people felt worldwide.
Yes.
Because why would they be so great?
I think that show, one reason why Kenan and Kel really resonated with people so much is because it was a real bond. A lot of times two people will get paired up by a company. Like, okay, you got one look, you got another look, we're going to pair you guys together. And they're two guys or girls that have never met before. They just, you got this look, you got that look, let's put them together. But Kenan and Kel, they were already on all that. And the producers saw, hey, those two guys are really good friends and they've got a bond. They've got a chemistry. Yes. Let's give them their own show. So I think it was natural. It wasn't just two people that randomly, well, you got the job as Kel, you got the job as Kenan, so come on board. It was really natural. So I think their genuine friendship bleeds through into their performance, and it just feels so natural and so amazing. Kenan and Kel,
iconic. Period.
Yeah, iconic. That every that show was a game changer because you can see how many shows afterwards were modeled after Kenan and Kel. I mean, Drake and Josh, all of those shows that kind of Amanda's shows, stuff like that, kind of were very similar to what Kenan and Kel did. It's a great. That show's still to this day. To this very day, I can watch that and just crack up laughing.
Right? Same here. And the last celeb, Drake.
Yes.
How was it working with him?
It was awesome. Drake, and I know I keep saying that, and people probably think I'm full of crap, but we interviewed so many people for this doc. This doc has a lot more. This documentary has a lot more people than most documentaries because we're covering 20 years and a bunch of shows. So we knew we needed to have at least one or two people from each show. And just the rule of numbers, you think you're eventually going to run into a bad apple, a diva, or somebody that's okay, fine, I guess I'll be interviewed, but you better have my room at 82 degrees and M&Ms, only orange M&Ms. And we kept thinking we would run into that, especially because, a lot of the people that we interviewed are very successful people. Mm-hmm. And we were blown away because we kept thinking, it's okay, it didn't happen this time, but we know it's coming. We just have to be ready for some rock star person. And it never, ever happened. And Drake's another one. I mean, he's a big star. And especially because, we don't cover Drake and Josh in the documentary. We cut off when Geraldine Layborne left, because the documentary is really about Geraldine Layborne, this amazing teacher who ran Nickelodeon all through the 80s and 90s, and she made Nickelodeon what it was. And I can't say enough good things about her.
So, I resonated with her. I know we're sidetracking, but like she's like a woman on top, killing the game,
killing it,
and killing it, changes everything. And when she let me back it up.
yeah. But I mean, and then she went on to found the Oxygen Network with Oprah. It's like she's like Midas. She's like, oh, I'm gonna do this. Now I'm gonna go do this. And everything she does amazing. And
it's because she has a heart of gold.
Yes, she does. She absolutely does. So that was kind of where we knew we needed, that became our story, was her tenure at Nickelodeon. Mm-hmm. So it's not that we think that because there are some shows that came after what we call the Orange Years, which is, Geraldine Layborne's time there. I think Invader Zim is a great cartoon. I think Drake and Josh is a great show. So it's not that we're saying these are the golden eras. It's just like, we're just focusing on these years because we're focusing on her work. So, I mean, the fact that, we're like, hey, we're not talking about Drake and Josh, but we still be interviewed. And he's like, yeah, I mean, that's really cool. You know, that it's like, we're not even talking about your show, but we wanted Drake because he was a fan of all those older shows. So he
talks about that. Yeah.
He talks about those, shows like You Can't Do That on Television, Kenan and Kel, Are You Afraid of the Dark, Pete and Pete. It gives you an outsider's perspective because at the time he wasn't on Nickelodeon. He was still a little kid. So he almost becomes the audience in a way. He's speaking for the audience because he was a kid watching those shows. So I mean, and he knew his stuff, and he's talk about a guy that's passionate about Nickelodeon and Disney. Just a great guy. And you can look at his room. The interviews with Drake are in his house, and it's just covered in orange stuff.
I thought he was in a restaurant.
Yeah, that's not a set. That's his house. I think it's cool when people aren't ashamed of where they came from, both Kenan Thompson and Drake Bell, neither of them were like, oh man, no, Nickelodeon, that's what I did when I was a kid, but that's not me anymore. Both of them were like, hell yeah, I got my start on Nickelodeon. I was killing it on Nickelodeon when I was a little kid, and I'm killing it now. They both embraced where they come from, and I really appreciate that, because there's a lot of people that don't, that are embarrassed of what they did before. And none of those people were like that. So I give them all the props in the world.
Yeah, you guys touch on that too in the documentary. Like, oh, we're happy from where we came from and etc. And I like that because I feel like people resonate with that.
I do too. And it was kind of interesting because the documentary, I think that there's kind of a trend right now in documentaries and docuseries to focus on toxic things. And I think that that's great because it has a place, because it's kind of shining a light on things that need to have a light shown on them. But our documentary was so the opposite of that. We're basically telling the story of Geraldine Layborne creating this amazing work environment that was not toxic and was amazing. So how do we make a story out of that? And so that was actually, things were so good. That was one of the challenges is how do we make this interesting whenever there wasn't a lot of like bad guys, there wasn't a lot of toxic behavior going on.
I like that. And I mean, you will cry. I mean, I cried. There were moments where I'm like, ooh,
that's
struck
awesome.
A chord. Yeah. I'll tell you later. But because that part is so juicy. I think this is only this one part. It's like, ooh.
Good show.
Yeah. So you guys, are on it. Y'all gotta watch it.
Yeah.
So, I loved the documentary so much. And you're right. There was no toxic vibes. You guys do mention that we're just like trying to like create characters, or Nickelodeon created characters that like had like a pure heart, because I feel like that is so rare. Like I feel like having a pure heart nowadays is a bad thing.
I agree. Yeah, right? It's frowned upon. Yeah.
But I don't care. I'm gonna have a pure heart anyways.
Yeah. And that's kind of how we took it, where we're like, you know what? If people are like, oh, why didn't you focus on the bad stuff? Why didn't you try to uncover some dirt on people? Why didn't you go into what happened to Amanda Bynes and exploit her and stuff like that? And we're like, you know what? No. That's just not what we want to do. We're trying to lift up people that like Geraldine Layborne, who all these people know that Nickelodeon shaped their childhood. It's time for you to get to meet your heroes and find out all the people that did a lot of hard work to give you an awesome childhood. And that's what we really want to do. And there is, to us, the struggle, the conflict became just them breaking new ground. All the conflict that they came from when people told them you can't do that, and we're like,
I remember
we can and we will. You can't. You can't make your own cartoons. Yeah, we can, and yeah, we will, and we're gonna do it. And people go, oh, you got to have a toy to sell with the cartoon. No, we don't. We're gonna make cartoons. Look at Rugrats. I mean,
success.
People told them Rugrats, Doug, Ren, and Stimpy would never be successful because it didn't have a toy to go along with it. Well, look at how many shows with toys came and went, whereas those, became huge things. And of course, they did have toys later on, but it wasn't about.
It's the principle.
Yeah, exactly. They weren't, So yeah, there's a lot of struggle, but we just let the struggle be these people working their asses off trying to make something amazing with no budget and no blue. It's easy to think of it now, but there was no blueprint. There was no kids programming. It's crazy to think about that, but there was no kids programming back then. So they were having to invent this stuff as they went along. There were no creator-driven cartoons, which we have them all over the place now, but there weren't.
They set the tone.
They set, totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
That's how I feel about podcasting.
Yeah. That's
why I resonate with it so much.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. Totally.
Yeah, maybe that's why I cried. But so, closing remarks, where can they find you, Scott? Where can they find the orange years, everything?
Gravitas, our distributor, they've done a great job of getting it anywhere. So you can buy it or rent it on Amazon, on iTunes, on Vudu, on Fandango, on Redbox Digital. You can rent it on YouTube. You can rent it on Google Play. I mean, you can rent it anywhere that lets you rent movies digitally and stream them. You can find it. You can also get a Blu-ray or a DVD. They're on Amazon.com. You can buy those. So pretty much anywhere. We'd appreciate anybody checking it out and kind of, we love hearing from people that have watched the film and we love hearing what they thought. And, if it brought back some good memories, we really love hearing that.
Awesome. I'm going to leave the links below, you guys.
Awesome.
Yeah, so I'm going to post this on YouTube, on the Soklene YouTube channel. And I'm going to post this on Apple, Spotify, and Google Podcasts on so this is going to be posted on Saturday, January 9th.
Great. Okay.
Yes. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you're on YouTube, and don't forget to leave a review. So,
do it.
With the algorithm, help with the algorithm. And thank you, listeners, for listening. Thank you, Scott Barber. This has been a privilege, and it's been so much fun. I'm ever so grateful. Thanks for setting this up. And any last words?
Well, no, I mean, I'm grateful to be here. Thanks for having me. I love what you do, and this has been a blast. I love getting to talk about this. So thank you so much for watching the film, and thanks for having me.
Yes, of course. All right, listeners. We'll see you guys next episode. Bye.